You're listening to All Things Sports with Mike Davis.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another podcast of All Things Sports with Mike Davis. I thank you for including my podcast into your day. If you're listening on Spotify, follow the podcast. If you're on YouTube, subscribe, comment, like, all that good stuff. Go to the Facebook page to get in contact with the show for comments or suggestions. I won't take up much more of your time. Let's get into it. All right, so let's go ahead and start with the NFL playoffs, the NFL reviews. Well, the reviews of, this weekend's playoff games. Last night, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tampa Bay ended up taking out Drew Brees and the Saints, knocking them out of the playoffs 30-20. Tampa advances. They'll face Green Bay in the NFC title game. Now, I knew that, well, I won't say I knew, but, something in my gut was just telling me that Tampa was going to win this game. I know Tampa swept them this season, but I don't think people understand how hard it is to beat a team 3 times in one season. It's very hard. The only time I've ever seen that happen, I believe it was, I want to say, the Titans, Tennessee Titans. Steve McNair and Eddie George were on that team. I want to say it was late 90s or like the year 2000. And I believe Tennessee ended up beating Jacksonville 3 times that year. It was a crazy stat because Jacksonville had, I think they went 14-2. It was one of those late years when Jacksonville was very good with Mark Brunell. And they ended up losing to Tennessee twice during the regular season, and then Tennessee knocked them out in the playoffs. Only team they lost to all season was the Titans. But point being is, and that's not a great example because Jacksonville lost 3 times to the same team. It's hard beating a team 3 times in 1 year. And I just knew that, even though New Orleans had the home field advantage, they were at home against Tampa. Tampa was going to be up for this game. This was the game of the weekend, honestly. But, and it showed that it's time for Drew Brees to retire. It was great seeing Brees as a quarterback, seeing him bounce back from, his playing in San Diego. Because if you remember him with the Chargers, he was a good quarterback. He wasn't great. He wasn't in San Diego what he is in New Orleans. That wasn't Drew Brees. But Drew Brees has had a lot of mistakes this year. And you kind of saw it in this game, 3 picks, and the writing is on the wall. Guy had a great career. I take nothing away from Drew Brees. The man will be a first ballot Hall of Famer. He owns, or at least is tied, for pretty much every quarterback career stat that you can have. So it seems like, this was his last hurrah. This was going to be his last game. There was a clip where he's walking off the field and he's in the, right in the entrance into the tunnel. And he looks back at the field and you just have this, you just have this inkling that, this is going to be it for Drew Brees. And, he's going to hang him up. And I also saw a clip where he told Jameis Winston that this is your team now. Now, I also saw reports that the Saints were saying they liked Jameis Winston. Before Winston went there, I thought Winston should have went to Pittsburgh, Excuse me. I thought he should have went to Pittsburgh and played there and learned under a Super Bowl winning quarterback such as Roethlisberger. I mean, not taking nothing away from Brees because he has a Super Bowl title as well. But reports are coming out that, New Orleans likes Jameis Winston, and he possibly could be the quarterback going forward instead of Taysom Hill. So we'll see what goes on with that situation. But again, if this is definitely it for Drew Brees, congratulations on a successful career. Hopefully he has a successful retirement. He's just as happy in retirement as he was playing quarterback in the NFL. I, for one, as a Falcon fan, won't miss him, but as a football fan, I will definitely miss him. But Tampa, Tom Brady, 2 touchdown passes, one running in. If Tampa is able to get by Green Bay, it will be the first time in NFL history that the home team will be playing in a Super Bowl. Well, not the home team, but a team playing in the Super Bowl will be playing in its home stadium. I, for one, would love to see it, but Tampa now has to go up to the cold Lambeau Field and play up there in Green Bay. I don't know if this is where I don't know what's going to happen. I want Tampa to win this game. I'm not going to lie to you. I want Tampa to win, but my football heart, my football knowledge is saying that Green Bay is a different machine this year, and Green Bay is going to win at home next week, next Sunday. I not taking nothing away from them. If Tampa is to win this game, they are going to have to keep Aaron Rodgers off the field. You can't let Aaron Rodgers, you can't give him chances to beat you. And I just don't know if they can do that. Tampa has one of the better defenses in the league. Excuse me. But it's going to be an interesting game. It's going to be another good game next week. I'm looking forward to it. Again, I want Tampa to win because there's certain history I want to see. I want to see a home team play in its own stadium for the Super Bowl. And I want to see Tom Brady get to the Super Bowl with another team. I want to see how Bill Belichick and Patriot fans are out there feeling if Tom Brady can get the Bucs to the Super Bowl. Because, I truly believe Tom still would have stayed in New England had they gotten him some weapons. But Belichick, for whatever reason, just wouldn't. And here we are. All right, so next week you will have New Orleans. I'm sorry, not New Orleans. Scratch New Orleans. They are out. But you will have Tampa Bay up at Lambeau Field facing the Green Bay Packers. Excuse me. Now, going over to the other NFC game, the Packers, they knocked off the Rams on Saturday night, beating them 32-18. Now, this game really was just a Packer highlight reel. The Green Bay offense made a ton of big plays, especially running the ball. Aaron Rodgers threw for 296 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Had a QBR of 108. Aaron Jones, 14 carries, 99 yards, had a touchdown himself. Allen Lazard, 4 catches, 96 yards, 1 touchdown. That touchdown being a 58-yard touchdown catch. And I wanted to ask, who is Allen Lazard? Because when I watch Packer games, it seems like the only guy they're ever throwing to is Davante Adams. That's it. That's the only guy I see. I know no other Green Bay receivers than that. That is the only guy that I know. But he showed up and had a good game against the Rams on Saturday night. And because of it, Green Bay, they are moving on into the next round to face they will host the Tampa Bay Bucs. So again, looking forward to that game. Next Sunday is going to be a great game, I believe. All right, so let's go ahead and switch over to the AFC side of things. Yesterday, the Kansas City Chiefs got a run for their money. They got a scare by the Cleveland Browns. The Browns, the Browns should have won this game. They should have won this game. It was right there for him. And unfortunately, a fumble out of the end zone, took him out of it. But uh, I saw some things today about that game where people were saying that the rule should be changed when the offense fumbles the ball out of bounds in the end zone. Now, excuse me, I don't think that rule should be changed. I'm more of an old school guy. I don't like rules really being touched. That's one of them. I heard Ryan Clark say that the end zone is sacred, and I truly believe that. There are different consequences for fumbling the football out of bounds, you know, between the 1 yard lines. Once you touch that end zone, there's a different set of circumstances if you fumble the ball out of bounds. It is what it is. Excuse me. And, there was a lot of people complaining about that, saying that the rule should be changed. I, for one, don't think the rule should be changed. But nonetheless, it was a great game yesterday. I thought it was a great game. And not to take nothing away from Mahomes. Mahomes was knocked out of the game due to a concussion. And, you take those seriously. That's not something you obviously, want to play around with. But it had to be one of the weakest concussions I've ever seen. I mean, to me, it didn't look like his head hit anything. And his head did kind of sort of get driven into the ground. But the way the camera angle looks and it pans up, it doesn't look like a hard hit to the ground for Mahomes. But nonetheless, he ended up getting knocked out of the game. Chad Henne comes in and saves the day on the big third down play where I think he got like 13 yards and set up a 4th and 1 or something like that. And I don't know, was it a 4th and 1? It might have been. I think it was a 4th and 1. But instead of punting the ball, Kansas City chose to run another pass play, a short pass play to Tyreek Hill, which shocked me because I thought, A, Kansas City was going to try to get Cleveland to jump off sides, or B, they were just going to let the clock run down and then punt the ball away. But Andy Reid, I look at this from a different perspective. What does that say about you not giving your defense a chance to close the game out? Do you not trust your defense in this situation? That's just kind of how I look at it. Because honestly, if it was me, I would have just punted the ball, went on about my day, put the game in my defense, put it in their hands, and let's come out of this thing with the W. But that wasn't the case, as Andy Reid ended up sending his offense back out there on 4th and 1 to get a first down. And it worked. But yeah, that's it for the Browns. Baker Mayfield didn't play a bad game. He only threw for 201 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. But he didn't play a bad game at all. Now, what happens now is Kansas City, they will host the Buffalo Bills next week. Now, moving over to the Bills game, they ended up beating the Baltimore Ravens 17-3. Now, this game was all about the Ravens making too many mistakes on offense. You had 2 bad snaps, missed field goals all over the place on both teams. You had running into the kicker with Baltimore. Look, I know it was 17-3, but believe it or not, this is one of those games where the score doesn't indicate the flow of the game because Baltimore was in this game the entire way. But the problem was Lamar Jackson only had 162 yards throwing with 1 interception, and he had a QBR of 61. Honestly, he looked like Atlanta Falcons Michael Vick out there. Michael Vick, he could run the ball when he was here in Atlanta, and he really couldn't get nothing else going. Now, to his credit, Lamar Jackson's credit, that is, the Ravens, in my opinion, are going to need to get him receivers and a serviceable running back. You can't just depend on, Lamar to just make these huge plays. It's just not going to happen. At least not every week. And that's kind of what's been going on uh, with this team, depending too much on Lamar Jackson, in my opinion. Now, over on the other side of the ball, Josh Allen threw for 206 yards, one touchdown, had a QBR of 86. It wasn't like he was spectacular himself or any sort, but he played, just well enough to get the job done. Stephon Diggs had 8 catches, 106 yards, one touchdown. Now, it was his 5th 100-yard game in his last 6. So, Buffalo is on a roll. They'll play KC next week. My opinion, I honestly want Buffalo to make the Super Bowl. I do. I want them to make the Super Bowl because Buffalo has suffered a long time. They suffered through 4 straight Super Bowls losses. And, Buffalo has one of the most loyal fan bases, Bills Mafia. Shout out to that fan base. But they have one of the most loyal and greatest fan bases that I would love to see Buffalo advancing to the Super Bowl. Now, Kansas City, of course, stands in their way, but I think Kansas City can be beat. I'm not too high on Kansas City's defense, and I don't know if you kind of want to get in the shootout with Buffalo. Josh Allen can sling that ball around as well. Now, I believe they met earlier in the year, and Kansas City got the best of them in Buffalo, but this time around, different time, different circumstances. All right. So next week we have Buffalo at Kansas City. You know what? I'm going to go with the upset. I'm going with the upset special. I think Buffalo goes into KC, and I think they get the win. And I think Green Bay will end up beating Tom Brady. I think that's where it starts for Tom. Hell of a season for Tom. First year in Tampa. But I think the buck stops there. And for your Super Bowl, I think you have the Green Bay Packers taking on the Buffalo Bills. All right, we're going to stay in the NFL. There have been a lot of coaching hires, I should say. Urban Meyer has agreed to become the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, Meyer won 3 national championships and has a college record of 187 and 32 record. Now, that's including stints at Bowling Green, Utah, Florida, and Ohio State. He won 2 of those titles with the Gators in 06 and 08. And then he led the Gators to a 65 and 15 record in 6 seasons. Now, he also led the Buckeyes to the 2014 national title and compiled an 83 and 9 record in 7 years at Ohio State. Now, Myers will be the 6th head coach in the Jaguars' history, replacing Doug Marrone, who was fired January 4th after the Jaguars finished their worst season in franchise history at 1-15. Now, Marrone had a 25 and 44 record, including his playoffs in 4 seasons with the Jaguars. Now, the Jaguars gave up a franchise record of 492 points last season, becoming the 5th team since the NFL expanded to a 16-game schedule in 1978 to allow at least 20 points in every game. Now, I will admit to you, I don't like it, flat out. I just don't like it. I don't have trust. I don't have faith in college guys who have been lifetime college guys or either very successful college guys coming over to the pro game. A lot of the times it just doesn't work. Now, it seems like Jacksonville is trying to hit lightning in a bottle, but I don't see it. I just don't see it, And the job looks very attractive, I'm not going to lie. If you're a head coach and you see what you have to work with Jacksonville, you can bring in a lot of your own guys. because it has a kind of a Cowboys, late 80s Cowboys feel to it when uh, Jimmy Johnson became the head coach and he traded Herschel Walker to the Vikings for 87 picks. You know, it feels like that because Jacksonville has, I believe they have the most picks coming up in this year's draft. I could be wrong, but I think I'm right. But they have a lot of picks, and I believe they have over 70 million in cap space, which is crazy to think of. So Urban Meyer has agreed to become the Jaguars head coach. I don't like it because I don't like college guys switching up, going to the NFL, and 9 times out of 10 it just doesn't work out. And if you don't believe me that it doesn't work out, ask you can ask Nick Saban how that turned out for him when he coached the Dolphins. If you don't want to ask him, you can ask Steve Spurrier about that, how that worked out for him when he coached the team formerly known as the you know what, but they now go by the Washington Football Team. All right, another coaching change up in let's go to New York. Robert Saleh, I believe that's how you pronounce his name. He has agreed to coach the New York Giants. Now the Giants, the Jets, not the Giants. This is the problem when you have teams playing in the same building. You confuse the two. The Jets, excuse me. The New York Jets are coming off one of their worst seasons in franchise history, having reached an agreement with San Francisco 49ers defensive coordinator Robert Saleh to be their next head coach. Now, Saleh is expected to take 49ers passing game coordinator Mike LaFleur. Now, he is the brother of Green Bay Packers head coach Matt LaFleur. And this is what is being put out there. Now, Saleh, who is of Lebanese American, will join Brian Flores of the Miami Dolphins, Mike Tomlin, Pittsburgh Steelers, Ron Rivera of the Washington Football Team as the active minority head coaches in the NFL. Now, the Niners will receive 2 third-round compensatory picks as part of the NFL's new hiring initiatives to incentivize an expansion of the candidate pool. Now, Saleh spent 4 seasons as the Niners coordinator, inheriting the last-ranked defense in yards allowed and helping transform it into a top 5 unit in the past 2 seasons. Now, despite a rash of injuries this year, his defense finished 5th in yards and 17th in scoring just this past season. Now, before the Niners, Saleh served as a defensive assistant with the Jacksonville Jaguars, Seattle Seahawks, and Houston Texans. Now, in scheme and personality, they're saying that he's closely aligned with Seahawks head coach Pete Carroll. My opinion on this story is I don't know if it's a good hire because it's the Jets. I'm just saying. It's the New York Jets, and you don't know what you're going to get. So, when it comes to the New York Jets, I don't I don't know what to trust. I mean, so yeah, I don't know if it's a good hire because it's the Jets. It's the New York Jets. This is the same team that hired Rich Kotite. If you don't know who Rich Kotite is, look him up. I believe he's selling cars now. That's all I'll say. So, yeah, look. Good luck to him. Good luck to Robert Saleh. Glad he got a job as a head coach with the Jets. But a lot of these guys, like this guy, what I don't like is they put themselves in a position where it's almost like you're going to fail. It's almost like, and I know guys, being promoted to a head coach somewhere is a lot of coaches' dream job. But sometimes you shouldn't really rush to take certain jobs just because it's something that you want to do, because you're more than likely being set up to fail. And that's how I look at the New York Jets job. I don't know really internally what what's going on with the Jets. And I'm not a Jets fan. I don't follow the Jets. But a lot of times, these young head coaches, they put themselves in a position, to fail. I would rather have the Falcons head coaching job than the New York Jets. At least I have some pieces to work with. I mean, the Falcons are now notoriously, they're notorious for blowing big leads, but there are pieces there. I don't know what you have with the New York Jets. So we'll see what happens. I'm not really big on it, but good luck to them. Good luck to all the people who have gotten head coaching jobs. All right, now I was online recently, and I won't even say recently. I'm online all the time. Let me stop lying. I'm online all the time. But there was this meme, and it had start 3 and cut 1. Now, let me give you the 4 choices. They were Julio Jones, Michael Irvin, Larry Fitzgerald, Calvin Johnson. Now, I actually talked about this with somebody, and they looked at me like I was crazy. And this is the problem with talking sports with newer generations versus older generations. Because the guy I chose that I would cut is Julio Jones. Julio Jones, look, if you're younger than me and you're thinking like the guy I was talking to, hear me out. Julio Jones is a great receiver. Great receiver. Julio Jones drops a lot of big passes too. No one talks about Julio Jones dropping passes. I watch the Falcons week in and week out. Look, not bashing the guy. I love Julio, but the guy, he can't stay healthy. He's always hurt. Something is always nagging him. So Julio would be gone. Now, the other guy that I talked to about this, he told me Michael Irvin would be gone. The playmaker. He would get rid of him. And I'm telling him, Michael Irvin, his nickname is the playmaker. He makes plays. Okay? The guy is a 3-time Super Bowl champion. Okay? The guy was a stud at Miami. All right? Now, I will say that the game has changed, from the time Michael Irvin played to now. I believe Michael Irvin would be more of a beast if he played in today's game because it's a more friendly passing league. But the 3 I would start, Michael Irvin, Fitzgerald. I love Fitz. The last choice was between Calvin Johnson and Julio. And, Calvin is Megatron. Calvin Johnson was a beast when he played. Julio was a beast as well. Not taking nothing from Julio, but Julio can't stay healthy. If I'm going to choose you, I need you to be on the field. It is what it is. So, start 3, cut 1. Your options are Julio Jones, Michael Irvin, Larry Fitzgerald, Calvin Johnson. Which one do you cut? Me, I cut Julio Jones. That's my choice. It is what it is. Sorry, guys. Sorry, younger generation. I apologize. All right, let's get into the NBA's biggest topic. The Brooklyn Nets, formerly known as the New Jersey Nets. I say that because they've been rocking the old school New Jersey Nets jerseys. The sky blue with like the white cloudy, mixture mixed into the jersey, however you want to call it. Look, I'm not I don't know what would you call somebody who looks at fabric and stuff like that all day. I don't know. All right, James Harden played his first game with the Brooklyn. See, mixed up. New Jersey and New York, you guys got to get this together. You guys got the Jets and Giants playing in New Jersey. You got the New Jersey Nets switching over to Brooklyn. There's too much going on up in New York, guys. Too much going on up in that metropolitan what is it, East Rutherford. Too much going on over there in that area. Okay? I need for you guys to figure it out. But James Harden played his first game with the Brooklyn Nets over the weekend. Harden finished with 32 points, 12 boards, 14 assists. Kevin Durant dropped 42 points himself. Both played 40 minutes in their first game together since the OKC days. Now, this game was against the Orlando Magic, where the Nets shot 53%. But the question is, are the New Jersey, see, there it goes, are the are the Brooklyn Nets favorites to win? Are they favorites to win? Now, my opinion, I like this team better without Kyrie Irving, and I'm going to keep saying it. Look what Harden and KD did without him. Look what they did without him. Look what Boston did without Kyrie. They went all the way to the East Finals. They just happened to run into LeBron James. You know? So, I'm going to keep saying it. I love Kyrie's game. I love his game. I just don't like him as a leader. I don't like him leading a team. And I think this team is better without him. I think if they somehow find a way to trade Kyrie for assets, such as depth, this team could go, sky's the limit. Harden and KD are more than enough. So I will say this. If Kyrie does not play, they are favorites. If Kyrie comes back, I believe he is in the COVID-19 protocol right now. And if he comes back and plays, I don't like the Nets. I don't like their chances. I just don't like it, you know, for reasons as I just stated. You know, the team is better without Kyrie. Kyrie has become a head case. He can't be trusted. You know where he is. You know where he is, but you don't know where he is. You know? So that kind of messes with team chemistry a little bit. And I don't like him. If Kyrie comes back into the fold, I don't pick Brooklyn. No, they aren't the favorites. If Kyrie stays away, they're the favorites. I don't know what they're going to do with him. I don't know what the Nets are going to do with Kyrie. It sounds like they're going to keep him, though. And they're going to try to make this three-headed monster team thing work. But they're in win now mode. They're in win this season mode. If they don't win this year, this whole thing is a failure. And you gave up a ton of draft picks, and you gave up Jared Allen for just to lose, to not get to the finals or lose in the finals. You know, so I'm half and half on the Nets. That's my answer. I'm half and half. If Kyrie plays, no, they're not the favorites. If Kyrie doesn't play, the Nets are the favorites. All right, guys. So before I get out of here, I'm going to go to my All Things Atlanta segment. I think I start putting this segment toward the end of the podcast. You know, if you're listening, you might not be an Atlanta fan, so you don't really want to hear any Atlanta stuff. So I'll put it at the end for my Atlanta guys, my Atlanta people, girls and guys who might want to listen. But my Atlanta Falcons, they made their hire. They have hired Arthur Smith to be their new head coach. I will be honest with you, I do not like it. I don't like it at all. If you hired this guy, I would have been better off hiring Eric Bieniemy. And let me tell you, I wasn't big on Bieniemy in the first place. Now, you know, I've seen reports saying that Bieniemy's not really getting a job for real because he doesn't call his own plays in Kansas City. Now, that wasn't my beef. My thing was he has Patrick Mahomes. You know, how many OCs can win with Patrick Mahomes? I can tell you what, it will be a lot of them that can win with Patrick Mahomes. So it's the same reason with Arthur Smith. Now, he won with a 2,000-yard rusher. But those don't grow on trees just every night. They rarely grow anywhere. So, and also this means that if you're bringing in a guy who believes in the run, that tells me Matt Ryan's not really going anywhere. And Julio is probably not going anywhere either. I am one of the people where I'm kind of over the whole Matt Ryan, Julio Jones era. I believe it's time for it to end. If you were a part of that Super Bowl run, get them all out of here. That era's done. That window has closed. That opportunity has left. So I believe it's time to move on from that. And I wanted to draft a quarterback in the draft. I wanted to get Justin Fields because I don't think that Trevor Lawrence will be there. I'm not real big on Trevor Lawrence, really, but I'm more bigger on Justin Fields because Justin Fields can move. I like a QB now that can move. I was one of the guys, old school guys. I prefer the classic drop back passer, but with today's game, defenses are they're just much faster now than back in the day. You need a quarterback that can get you a quick 5 yards when you need it. So that doesn't look like that is going to happen with this Arthur Smith hiring, the former Tennessee Titans OC. Look, the guy's got nothing but praises, and I have nothing against him. I just don't agree with his philosophy because, as I said earlier, you had Derrick Henry. You had a 2,000-yard rusher. So, and that's not to say he might even go that route. He could go a completely different route, because we don't have a 2,000-yard rusher. We don't have a rusher here at all. Ty Gurley showed that this season he wasn't the answer. So it's back to the drawing board as far as running backs go. And we will be in the market for a brand new running back. So I don't really care much for the Arthur Smith hiring, but all I can do is wait and see, and that's what we're going to do is wait and see what happens. All right, let's go to the Hawks, my Atlanta Hawks. They're struggling. They've been losing a lot lately. Beef between Collins and Trae Young, and I think that Lloyd Pierce, honestly, is losing the team. I think he's losing the team. Look, there was never a great thing about Lloyd Pierce being a X's and O's guys. He was more of I can coach guys up and get them ready to play at the level they need to play at in the NBA. Never heard anything about him being an X's and O's guy, and this might be where the train stops to let Lloyd Pierce off, and in comes another head coach. Now, I'm not sold on Nate McMillan either. Nate McMillan wouldn't be my head coach, honestly. At this point in Atlanta, we're trying to make a splash. What they need to do is they need to go get Mike D'Antoni off that Nets bench, okay, and bring him here to Atlanta and let him coach. Now, John Collins, and the Trae Young beef, I really don't care about it, honestly. If one has to go, I would rather be John Collins. I would love for both of them to play and stay together. But John Collins is in no position really to tell anybody how to run an offense after you let your team down last season, missing 25 games due to PEDs. I really don't want to hear anything you have to say about making your team or an offense flow better, So that there was beef between the two about, John Collins didn't like the way Trae Young would run the offense and how he would take quick three-pointers and put the defense in a bad position, having to get back and defend fast breaks. But Trae is Trae. Trae is the star. And it's one of those things where you got to deal with it. And another thing I don't trust Collins about is that it's contract year. He's a free agent at the end of the year. So, yeah, he wants the ball in his hands so he can get a max deal somewhere. Not fooling me, John. Not fooling me. Not fooling me at all. All right. So, I wanted to speak on the season ticket situation with the Atlanta Hawks. I don't like it. They are uh, they called me telling me after I've paid for my season tickets, we're only going to allow to be able to attend 10 games this season. Now, I ended up turning it down, and it's going to just roll over into next season. So that is a good thing that it will roll over until next year. I won't have to worry about paying any more money because I didn't pay for 10 games. That's not what I paid for. So it is what it is. But yeah, I don't like how the Atlanta Hawks have handled the season ticket situation. Hopefully you all out there, if you have season tickets to your local teams out there, hopefully you are being treated better than the Atlanta Hawks have treated their season ticket holders. Last thing before I get out of here, the Atlanta Braves, my Braves agreed Friday to 1-year deals with left-handers Max Fried and AJ Minter. Now, Fried gets $3.5 million, and Minter he will get $1.3 million. Shout out to Max Fried. Now, he earned a significant raise from 2020 when he only made $216K of his prorated portion of his $500,000 salary in a pandemic-shortened season. Now, Fried finished 5th in the NL Cy Young voting after going 7-0 with a 2.5 ERA. I got high hopes for that guy. And Minter, he enjoyed a strong comeback season, recording an ERA of less than 1 in 22 appearances. Now, he has 24 strikeouts in 21 2/3 of an inning, pretty much getting his spot back as a reliable left-hander after he struggled in 2019. He had an ERA of 7, which is woo. But he also earned a prorated salary of $216K in 2020, but he is getting some money coming his way this coming season. Also, today is January 18th, Martin Luther King birthday. Some people are celebrating it today. I do know that. Happy birthday, MLK. And I also want to say this day in history, sports history, January 18th, 1996, baseball owners unanimously approved interleague play starting in 1997. Long time ago. I thank you, baseball owners, because I have loved interleague play ever since it started. For you kids out there that might not know, back in the day, before 97, AL teams and NL teams did not play against each other in the regular season. The only time they saw each other was All-Star games and in the World Series. So, there you have it, people. All right, so look, that's all I got for you today, folks. I thank you for including my podcast into your day. If you're listening on Spotify, follow the podcast. If you're on YouTube, subscribe, comment, like, all that good stuff. Go to the Facebook page, get in contact with the show for comments or suggestions. You've been listening to All Things Sports with Mike Davis. And remember, it's your world. I'm just giving my opinion. I'm out. Peace.
You're listening to All Things Sports with Mike Davis.